Hey, it's 7 o'clock. It's April 25th. My name is Joey Ragona, and welcome to another show of Marketing Made Easy. I am always excited to be here. I love doing these shows. I'm doing this for the last, I don't know, 3 years or something like that. And thank you for being here with us. Thank you for just supporting us and even coming into, learning more about heart centeredness and how to be really cool human beings with your market. Because as you know, a lot of the stuff that is out there is really about pushing people into doing stuff that they really don't want to do. And it's all about the marketer and all these other things. And that's not what heart centered marketing is about. Heart centered marketing is about being very respectful to our dream clients and understanding that it's on their timeline. And that's pillar number three, by the way. If you've been with us, we have three pillars, which is curate the tribe. Scott and I were just talking about that off camera. And also serve, don't sell, which is when you do curate the tribe, you bring them in and you serve them and you don't sell them, because serving actually does equal selling. And then you just respect their timeline. When you do serve them and then you are offering something later on, eventually they will come to a point where some of them, not all of them, will say, "Hey, I would like to know more about what you do, and can we talk about that?" And that's what Heart Center Marketing is about. That's what the Marketing Made Easy show is all about. It's not about trying to get as much money as you can overnight and trying to fill your bank account overnight with not caring for human beings. But that's what this is about. Scott, welcome.
Thank you, Joey. I didn't think we were ever going to get past the introduction. I thought it was just going to be an hour-long introduction. And for those of you that are watching live, please give us a hashtag live. Those of you watching on the replay, hashtag replay. And while you're doing all those hashtags and clicking buttons and stars and fireworks and likes and happy, Joey's going to put the link to the Heart Centered Marketing Club, probably the finest group on the interweb for those who are heart centered, looking for an amazing group of like minded, supportive, heart centered people who are there to cheer you on and support you. And Joey, who's like every day posting and caring and nurturing, teaching you how to do this heart centered marketing stuff in a cool way without any pressure or selling or getting on an automatic email list to sell you Joey's latest program, his latest and greatest thing. No, join us. And as Joey said, it's all about getting better at heart centered marketing and curating those dream clients who will come to hear you as you serve them. And then they'll come to you and say, "May I give you money, please?"
Well, some of them will, yes. And that leads into today's topic, which is two business outcomes that are really important. And the first one is about the dream client. So the first outcome, if you're following along, is the dream client outcomes. And so we have been talking about heart-centered marketing for the last 3 years or so, something like that, which is leading to dream client outcomes. And the second outcome, then we'll break these down. I want to talk about both of them. The second business outcome that is really important is our lifestyle outcomes. So there's two major defining outcomes. And so the dream client outcomes, it sounds obvious, but I still want to talk about these things because I still recognize that people have challenges with this. And you know me, I like to simplify things. So it's really about simplifying what are the two things that I'm doing this? What is the business made for? And to me, those are the two outcomes. Is it's about the dream client, their outcome, and it's about the lifestyle that I want. Is there anything else that you would fit in there, Scott? Or yeah, like what are your thoughts on this first
Well,
before we
my
dive
thoughts
in?
are you've taken the three dream elements that we talk about: dream client, dream business, and dream life. And I think you've combined lifestyle into dream business and dream life because if you do have dream clients, then you can create a dream business and live a dream life. So they're all kind of the same thing. And I'm fully in agreement because as easy as it sounds, it's challenging to really go out and understand that the dream clients are out there and that with 7 billion people on the planet, your small group of dream clients exists. And we don't need millions or even hundreds of thousands or thousands of dream clients, a small amount. And yeah, the outcomes of a lifestyle. Do you have a lifestyle that you and I talk about Dean Jackson a lot? And his question is, how long could you sit on the couch and not have to do anything in your lifestyle that you've created? So I like these too.
Cool.
So yeah,
All right. So I'd like to dive into these a little bit more and give some insight for anybody listening. And by the way, if you got some input or feedback, or maybe there's some things that we're missing out, please put it in the chat. Love to hear from you. But the two main outcomes that I believe are just that wraps everything into like why are you doing what you're doing are the dream client outcomes. That's what the business is built for, and for your own lifestyle. And I'm going to start with the lifestyle first for a second because I think that I know for a fact that I was down this rabbit hole of maintaining a life. That was just basically it. So I started a business just because, well, for a lot of reasons, but I didn't realize till later that it was just really to maintain a life. Like, I can pay my bills and I can have a couple of extra things here and there, but it wasn't building a lifestyle. It was the fact of I just don't want to work for somebody and I can't work for somebody. So yeah, this is kind of the other thing that I could do. Does that relate to you or anybody else in the comments right now that who are watching us live or on the replay? Does that relate to you, Scott?
yeah, totally and completely, Joey. I've forever, I've said I don't play well with others. It's been difficult for me over the years, way back when I would work for others, because there was just a piece of me that said, really? You're doing it this way? There's such an easier way to do it. There's a way to make that simpler and easier and care about who we're serving as opposed to this is difficult and how can we take advantage of people. That to me came early on in my career in hospitality in serving, and it just realized that that's I wanted to do it my way and I wanted to work who I wanted. And I was fortunate early, I've mentioned, to one of the greatest gifts my father ever gave me was he paid for the Dale Carnegie course for me. And that changed my life because it was about presenting and speaking and realizing what I loved and had a passion for, and was able to take it and run with it. And it started to create the lifestyle I loved, which was going and traveling to cities and presenting and speaking and training and teaching. And that was a life I loved. And now I look at how do I do that same thing now and live a lifestyle that I want. And the only way that's going to happen is dream clients. And it just keeps going back and forth is you live a quality lifestyle and have that outcome with dream clients. So go.
Did you have that vision when you started?
No, I didn't. I didn't have a vision that I wanted to be an entrepreneur and I wanted to be an online marketer. I was just enamored with the speaking world and what I loved about it and saw about it. I didn't consciously say, huh, this is the life I want to live. I just want to, I was doing it. I was traveling all over
So you fell
the
into your
world.
lifestyle that you loved back then.
I fell into it. I think I was teaching at the university at, as an adjunct professor, teaching catering management, and one of the other professors owned a training company, and they were training hotels how to increase room sales. And
Yeah.
all the hotels kept saying, "This is great. Can you teach us how to sell more catering?" And that's what I was teaching. And they're like, would you? And so I created a course. And then I learned about marketing with faxes and postcards and all of that. And just that's when cash copy. And I fell into it. Obviously, the opportunity came. I seized it. I jumped on it and then went into it with all I had. But I didn't sit and go, huh, here's a lifestyle I think I would love. I fell into it and fell in love with it.
Cool. Hi, Lorna. Nice to see you. Um, yeah, because when I talk about lifestyle now, I off camera, I read to you something I wrote back in 2016, and back then I didn't know I was writing. Maybe I did. I can't really remember. I would be lying if I knew, if I said I did know and I did know. I just really don't remember. But you when you heard it, like that's basically the lifestyle I have today.
Yeah, yeah,
And but so in a way, it was intentional because I was really focusing on this is what I'm passionate about and what I'm training and what I want to get to. And probably when I wrote that, it wasn't really defined as me every day doing something toward the thing. It was more of, well, here's what this means and here's how you can do this. But it really wasn't something that I would say that I followed from 2016, like that moment to today. However, in the last 3 years, it has been, but not knowing that until saw it today, I'm like, wow, this is really freaky how this stuff works. Um, but that's what I want to talk about because the lifestyle, if first of all, if anybody's listening now and you have if you're not planning for lifestyle, if all you're doing is I want to quit my job or I want to make extra money and have time freedom, and that's just broad stuff. Like what's the lifestyle look like for you? You know, in Atlas we do that, right? We do the dream week, we do the dream day, which is a very hard exercise if you really look at it. What's the dream day look like, right? What do those things look like? But one of the things is the vision. We talked about this, I think, last week, something about a vision. And one of the most important things to do to create the lifestyle or to plan for the lifestyle with your business is to have something that actually pulls you forward, right? Because that's what I mean. That's why I asked you, did you fall into this or did you have this vision? And so having a vision on what you want is important. But here's the problem, at least it is for me, is when we look at vision, we try to make a vision based on what we know now. And we're like, okay, I'm going to create a vision, but then all this crap gets in the way. All this head trash gets in the way because of what we know now. And we, even though we're like, well, I want to have more time or some freedom or whatever, right? We're like, that's what I want, but we really don't. At least for me, I'm just speaking about myself. We really don't dig deep and get rid of the head trash to say, this is what I really want. And I think that's where the journaling comes in, or think time, right, comes in, and just escaping and getting out of. You were talking about one of your clients before about limiting beliefs of money, and just getting out of it. Like it doesn't mean it's going to happen today. That you're going to wake up out of this dream today, and it's going to manifest itself right there. But why can't you ask for it? Why can't you think about it? Go, as in what you would have done to me. Go.
go. It just it's so true what you're saying, Joey, and thank you for sharing what you shared before we went live, which was these pieces are so vital. And I was watching in my Zog think time over the weekend. I just got away. I went to the mountains, and driving through the mountains, I was just thinking and putting out, okay, what do I need? What do I need? What's coming? And that's my think time. And I was at a place just total peace and quiet. And I was able to think about what's coming next and allow it and create the vision and define it more. And I watched a couple of videos from very successful people, and the theme was common throughout. Same with them, is putting it down and defining it, and especially not being afraid to paint a big picture. And the conversations I was having the last couple of days were the limiting beliefs. And I mentioned to you the question I asked somebody was, who told you that it wasn't okay to ask for money? Somebody in that person's life told them it wasn't okay. Another person, I said, who told you that there was a limit on the amount of abundance available for you in the grand scheme of things? And what did you sign a contract that said you can't think about anything higher than this? And I'm not talking about, saying, "Oh, I'm going to make $800 billion." That's not real. But being able to put down, what do I want that to look like? Because if you Set monster goals and dream monster dreams. I got that from Willie Jolly, great speaker. And then, if the mind can conceive it and the heart can believe it, then you can go achieve it. It's a matter of putting something, the Dale Carnegie SMART formula has to be specific, measurable, attainable, real life, and what was the T? Time based. And for this is you put down something and it allows the mind to start going. It doesn't mean it's going to happen today, but by defining it and going back to it, and I do it over and over again. And like you said, Joey, I don't know the available opportunities. I only know in my limited consciousness of what I've experienced. I don't know what's on the outside of what's next. And that's what putting it down allows you to say, okay, I'm getting close to this, and along the way, this happened. And this came in, and now I could see that. We talk about climbing mountains. I can't see the next mountain until I've gotten to the top of this one. And the realization is there is a next. And that's why these are important. And you know that we talked about the whole 12-week year and productivity and that. And that's part of this is going through it and saying, what do I want? What can I go?
Yeah, 100%. Um, just going to give Lorna, she says, many years ago, I wanted a business to provide a living. After my husband passed away, the motivation was more about lifestyle. Yeah, it usually does start out that you want to provide a living or you want to replace your income because you're coming from a job. That's usually where it all starts. I mean, when I started coaching people, that was the number one reason why they wanted to start a business, to replace their income and make their own decisions and be on their own time. That's basically what it was. And maybe I had that, same mentality when I started my business. Um, Back when I was 16 or 17 years old, whatever it was. But I never had this focus on mind, on lifestyle. So, and I see it today all the time that people are just working really, really hard. And the old, what is you start a business to stop working 40 so you can start working 80, like, something like that, whatever it was. And it's so true. But I see it and it pains me because all they're trying to do is get to the next day. And sometimes it's even to the next hour. I just got to survive this next hour, like this next couple of hours. And then so they're always in this entrepreneurial rat race. And so there's no vision of the lifestyle that they truly want. And that's one of the reasons why I started on, even when Atlas is like, let's start out with how you want your life to be. Forget about making money and groups and the dream client Ds and DNAs and who you want to work with and all that and what model it's going to look like, because it doesn't matter until you know exactly what the life you want looks like so that we can fit everything in. And it's so important. And people, sometimes when I do these things, I get the feeling sometimes that it's just like, oh, here's just another cool little exercise or a nice way of looking at things. It's not a nice way of looking at it. It's reality. It's what I've grown up with for the last 58 years almost now. Is this, geez, this is what it's about. And I'm just trying to help you understand and get you out of that situation of circular chaos of just maintaining your business. So I'll come back to this, and I want to talk about the dream client outcomes. So if you're just joining us, by the way, we're talking about two defining outcomes for your business from what I believe, and it looks like Scott believes it too, which is there's two major outcomes. One is the dream client outcomes. What your business is about is the dream client outcomes, and it's about your lifestyle outcomes. So the dream client outcomes, this is about everything that you do. This is the way, again, I'm going to speak from my perspective. Everything that you do has to be built towards dream client outcomes. Everything that you do in your business has to be built towards dream client outcomes, not about how much money can I make, what's the program I can sell so I can make a whole bunch of money, and get some cool people buying my stuff. No, it's about dream client outcomes. And the question that I pose to you listening is, do you know what those dream client outcomes are? AKA the Oasis. Do you know what those dream client outcomes are? And if you do know what those are or you don't, that's your job, is to figure out, are you solving the right problem? Are you solving the right problem? And so I want to go through a couple of questions here to spark conversation, if I could. I want to just say hi
No,
to
you
Kay.
can't. No, you can't. Sorry, it's not in the. It's
Not
not
in the
in the.
cards. Yeah,
No,
not in the script today. So,
no.
hey, Kate, good to see you. So true.
Kay
Life,
Hutchinson, what's going on, Kay? Sorry, I get excited.
life has to work for you, or it won't matter what unfolds for the business. 100%. Thank you, Kay. So here are the questions. Here's some questions that I want for everyone to ponder. One is, first of all, do you have the right problem? And for me, it's always been about the detective work. Am I solving the right problem? And the way that you know if it's the right problem is it big enough for people to want to solve? That's the question that you want to ask. Is it the right problem? And is it big enough for someone to want to solve? Because there are problems in our lives that we live with, right? And it's like, this is this is kind of bothersome. I'll stop there. Do you want to have any input there?
Yeah, I do because the other day I was talking to somebody about what's the job they do, what's the problem that they solve, and I said, "Is it a mosquito bite or a shark bite?" And that came right from the show and you. And I was like, if it's a mosquito bite, then who cares? I go get a little calamine lotion. If it's a shark bite, I'm in the hospital right now because I.
Right.
And so when you said that, that jumped into my head was, is the problem a mosquito bite or is it a shark bite?
Right.
And it's got to be a shark bite. Like we talk, it's got to be a crisis. It's got to be holy. Now, it on two different sides of the coin, it has to either be a pain that's so uncomfortable that they wake up wanting to solve it, or a future state or a desire that's so great that they'll pretty much do anything to get it. One of those two, but again, it can't be like, yeah, I could build a little muscle if I felt like going to the gym, maybe. That's like, yeah, from the desire standpoint. You know, I wake up every day and go, how do I make my core, my abs powerful, stronger? And if something comes in front of me that will help solve that, it's shark bite in a way to me. As opposed to the flip side, we can all go, what's the crisis? What's the shark bite? You know, they're getting up and they can't walk anymore, or they can't whatever, or they can't breathe, or they're so unhealthy or whatever it is that the problem you solve. Yeah, it's got to be a shark bite. Go.
Yeah. And so yeah, it's a shark bite, snake bite. It's something that is like relatively urgent. That's the next thing. Is it big enough for them to want to really solve this thing? And is it urgent enough? That's another piece. Like big and urgent. There has to be big and urgent. And the next one is, are they willing to spend money for this? I had a discussion today on Academy about this, and sometimes it's really hard to hear. Like, when we are passionate about something and the dream clients and all these things, the stuff that we do the work on, but these areas are not in play. They're not checked off. It's not urgent. It's not big enough, or they're not willing to pay for it. Like, it's great that you have dream clients and all the work that we've been talking about in terms of the right people and the friends and all these things. But magic just doesn't happen automatically, right? So you have to have all these things in place. And so these are the things. Then the other thing that a lot of people don't talk about is this. Does your dream client already feel as though they have a good solution out there, even if they're not using it? Do they feel that there's already a good solution? And this is a whole other topic we can talk about later, but one of the things that we talked about today, and I'd love to share this with you too one time off camera or something, but I went through, you know, of, what is it, Blue Ocean Strategy.
Hmm.
You're familiar with that? And so
Yep.
I taught a training. I don't know how it was, how many years ago it was. It was quite a few years ago. And I took some training from that, and there was a four action framework or something from it. And I did it, and then I resurfaced it today and looked at it, and and it was like lo and behold, wow! I ran Atlas through it, and it was just uncanny how brilliant that four action framework is
Mm.
to like actually stand out. And so this is what it means is like, how are you, if there's already a solution out there that they feel is good enough, a good solution to solve their problem, why aren't they using it? And it may be that you need to reposition in a different way.
Totally agree with that. I love the blue ocean. I like to call mine a blue pond. I'm building a blue pond where I can have all my fishies come in and feed them and nurture them and serve them and take care of them. And when they're ready, they're right there in a little blue pond. And Atlas so is a blue ocean. There's no ifs, ands, or but. It's not a bloody red ocean of sharks fighting each other. I've watched over the last few days some of those sharks fighting, and there was a couple of people whose stuff I watched that I had never watched, who are the bro marketers, and it was just I watched the whole thing, and the promise of an hour webinar turned into an hour and 40 minutes, and the fake value stack and the fake comments, and I'm like, you're saying that you're making a few $100 million and you're still in this whole hypester. It just it's so fake, and that's why that's a bloody red ocean, because on YouTube it's the same, let me show you my ATM. That doesn't lie. Oh, let me show you how much money I made this month. I'm showing you my new house and my new cars, and it's all the same. And then you come along with, let's do this different in Atlas, and that's a blue ocean. So I don't
Yeah.
know if I'm on topic or not, but I don't really care. So you go.
it
No.
was it was kind of a diverge, but that's okay. Uh, it is all right. I think that one of the things I hear a lot about or questions that come up in conversation is how do I scale? You know, I want to make this scalable, and it's one of those trigger words for me when I hear it
Yeah.
because I don't really know what it means to somebody. So I always have to ask further questions like, what does scalable actually mean? Go figure. Ask them the direct question and get a direct answer, right? And this is kind of where the scalable part comes in for me is in this area of if you're defining the right outcome for people in the dream client area. And it's, we talked about a problem for the dream client to, it's urgent, they have to get it solved, all these things. But it also has to be, in my mind, a problem that is important to you. Important to you. And here's why. Because it will solidify your business and it will make it repeatable and scalable for you. And this is what I experience now. And you know, I talk about when people come to me with different ideas and here's what I want to do, then I want to do this, then I want to do this, then I want to do this, then I want to slow down. Let's just do one thing here, get you to like $1 million, then we'll talk about it later. And it's always about, because it's going to take you a while to build the business, and $100,000 is amazing, but you still need to get to another level, and that's going to take basically repeating a lot of stuff. And if you don't care about the problem, that's going to be a challenge. And we're still not at scale yet. Like scale to me is like 100 transformations at the very least. Like actual people who you've transformed, who are doing the thing that you've promised them to do. That's when you can become this area of scalability. And that takes repeating of doing the same thing again and again and again and again. And if all you did is set up a business to maintain lifestyle to just pay some bills, right, and not have to get up in the morning and go to work for somebody else. And all you don't really don't care about the dream client's outcomes, and you don't care about the problem as much as I'm talking about, like passionately about the problem. There's going to be challenges. What are your thoughts?
Totally and completely. If you approach it from that standpoint of, I just want to make money, then that's all you're going to ever think about. And at the end of the day, it comes through to everybody if that's what you're doing in your copy, in your emails, in your videos, in your messaging, in anything. If the whole premise behind it is, I got to make money, I got to make money, instead of, I'm going to help you, how am I going to heal you, how am I going to solve your problem, how am I going to give you transformation, how can I go out and transform people, help people, transform people. And if that just becomes the focus, the money comes. Yeah, you've got to charge for what you do, but if it's all about that piece in the beginning, and there's too much pressure to have to make money, and if that's all you're doing, then it's not the right thing. It's got to be, is how do I help people? How do I solve their problem with what I know how to do? And it's the outcome, it's the job. It goes back to what you talk about. What is your job? What is the job of what we're doing? And that's what, to define that outcome and go after it with a ferocity and tenacity. You
Yeah,
save people's lives because they've been screwed over and they've wasted money, and they're on this treadmill that will never end, that they'll never find and never get to it the way they're doing it. And even if they did, they're going to have to just wake up and do it all over again.
yeah,
And other than, the simplest way is to develop something that's amazing, like the pumpkin plan. Make your pumpkin and focus all of your energy, all of your nutrients, all of your love, all the light on that one pumpkin, and grow that pumpkin to be the biggest, greatest pumpkin, so that the seeds are worth a fortune. That's the same thing that we do here. Is if we go with outcomes for the dream client, then we build this amazing pumpkin. Then it's got value and you can do something with the seeds. But I can't do anything with the seeds until I build a great pumpkin. And the great pumpkin is a focus on one thing, building a program that gives outcomes to the dream client, which then gives you the lifestyle that you want outcome.
do you have a passion for what you're doing or
Oh,
building
yeah.
that
Oh, yeah.
pumpkin? On a scale of 1 to 10, what is the passion level?
10, 10.
How do you know that?
Because I wake up and I love doing it. And when I think about it, when I spend time in my thinking and meditation, and more comes. And as I go help people and I watch them transform and I see them make life changes and breakthroughs in both mindset and business, and building and changing their life. And that to me, I don't want to do anything else. The other day, I realized I love teaching people and watching them transform with the knowledge that I've been able to acquire and share with them. And what would I want to do? I realized it the other day. What did I love doing more than anything? Standing up in front of a group of people and teaching them how to market the things that they don't know how to do, and get results for them in easy ways that they could go implement it and then make a change in their life and their clients' lives. I love that. I love showing up on Tuesdays and talking about this stuff. It's no different than when I get on with someone and talk about this stuff. Now we talk about it generically and drink there. It's okay. Who is yours and what are you doing? And that it hit me Saturday driving into the mountains was, you love teaching this stuff, so go do it. Build your program and teach people to help them with the outcome they need, with the problem they're experiencing, and focusing on it. And that's all I want to do, dude. I don't want to do the other crap I was doing. I don't want to launch things it's too much
So you
to
weren't
create.
passionate about that.
No, and even if I was, the exhaustion overrides the passion.
What does passion mean to you? I ask this question to almost, well, when I have deep conversations. What does passion mean to you? I asked this question the other day to one of our at the student's time. And before I
To
share what
me,
I think passion is, I want to know what your is, and I'd
my
love to know from the audience too. What is your definition of passion?
my definition of passion is love. It's loving something so much that it brings you joy in your heart, in your soul, in your being, in your spirit. That to me is passionate. To be passionate about something is you want to give it your all. You just want to, it's almost like you like to say irrationally passionate. It's just I love this. I want to, like, for example, the 12-week year. I am so passionate about wanting to share what I know with others that I'm willing to go and take this back out and go through it in its entirety again and go through what we talk about, not just because we talk about it, but because it works. And I want so much to share what I've been in a more organized way that to me is passion to
Cool.
at night rather than saying I'm going to go do this. No, I'm going to work on I'm going to go through the 12-week goals worksheet and fill it out and really do it. Not just like, yeah, it's a good idea to go fill this stuff out. No, if we talk about stuff, you and I do it. We're not just saying, this is cool stuff and we go do it. I mean, our walls are, if we turned and looked at our walls, we got stuff all over the place. My desk, this, books everywhere, and cheat sheets and superpowers, and it's all there constantly. That's passion to me, is so loving this stuff. And then
Cool.
when you're so connected to it in one place with the railing, with the train tracks, go.
Nice. Kay, my passion is a soulful desire to engage healing work in a way that lights me up and others exponentially. That's amazing. Amazing.
Wow, that's
What is
better.
passion? What is the definition of passion for you, Kay? And anyone else listening? By the way, hashtag live if you're watching us live, and hashtag replay if you're watching us on the replay. But I'd love to know what passion means to you. Lorna, to me, passion is unrelenting desire to do something. You can't help yourself but talk about it and live a bigger life, bigger than life. That's right. You breathe it and you bleed it. Right on. And family and friends sometimes get tired of hearing it. Yes, exactly. You're stealing my thunder, Lorna. So that's exactly right. Uh, to me, I'll share what passion is. It's pretty simple. It's something that you cannot not do. It's something that, like Lorna said, you you do it naturally and all the time, and you get in trouble for doing it sometimes because it's always on. And I'll give an example. For me, it's about coaching and solving problems. That's just basically what I do: solve problems. And I cannot not do it. Like no matter where I am, I'm trying to always solve someone's problem, and sometimes it gets me in trouble if I'm at a family dinner or something. And it's like, dude, like nobody asked you, like shit, like like it's like right. But that's what I'm just passionate about trying to make someone's life faster and better and easier, right? So that's what
I
passion
want
means
to
to me.
come to a meal and say, dude, nobody asked you.
Right? No, nobody asked you. Take the coaching hat off. I can't. Like, so, um, you want to read that one?
Joey, yeah, you're right. We can't turn it off. That's the
Yeah.
thing. We can't turn it off. And you know me, you've been on the headset with me when I go out to places. I can't not talk to people. I can't not engage with people. I can't not ask them, okay, what are you going to be and this and that. But it's just what I can't turn it off. And it gets me in trouble sometimes too. And so Kay says passion means being connected to my zone of genius, that it is like breathing. Yeah,
These
that's
are all great.
when we get to hang out there. And I told you, Joey, I'm working on my what I'm calling my Zog manifesto. Is it's our responsibility, and that's what you and I do on Tuesday nights. Is we bring each other into that, and we stay in there by allowing ourselves to go play at a level and put out there. And Lorna says, my husband was so passionate about newspapers that I used to swear he would bleed black and white, not red. We did not find out he did have. We did find out he did have red blood. Ha ha ha.
Yeah.
So
Everybody's
yeah,
hitting it on the like in one way, shape, or form that it is about something that is innate to us. It is part of who we are. It's our DNA. And when you find sometimes it's unfortunate though that people don't find their passion.
yeah,
I've heard a lot of that too. Where like I got to go find my passion, and I
yeah,
truly empathize with that because we've been lucky to find it, and looks like some people here have been lucky to find it too. But it's those people that are out there searching for their passion that kind of makes me sad.
yeah. And Jeffrey says, "Would I still do it and not even get paid to do it?"
One
And
hundred
that was
percent.
always my thing. What would you do that you love so much that you didn't care if you got paid? And that always to me was, put me on the stage in front of people and let me talk about marketing. You don't have to pay me. Let me just do it because I love it. And it's, again, we show up Tuesday nights because we love it and we're passionate about it. There's nothing I'd rather talk about than helping people to market their brilliance, their genius, and get their message out there, and build, curate their tribe so that they can solve the outcomes of the dream client, which is what we're talking about this evening, and the lifestyle outcome. Those two things back and forth. If I can help somebody do that, then it's been a good
Yeah,
life.
well, and this is why the dream client outcomes have that thing about like, is the problem big enough for you?
Yeah.
Because I was talking today again with the Academy crew, and we were talking about like the loop of there's two things where you're asking for help, let's say, right? And I said, okay, if you're not clear about something, you ask about it. And for me, I'm passionate about just solving the problem. Just ask me as many times as you need to ask in order for me to give you the answer so that you could take action to move ahead. And that's basically where entrepreneurs are always they're always in this loop of I'm not clear about whatever it is. What do I do next? All these other things are not clear, and or they're not taking action. And so it's a loop. So if you're not taking action, let's say you ask the question about who's my dream client, or I need to know more about my dream client. Okay, go do this to find that out. And if that's not clear to you, then the question that is next is I'm not clear about what you just said. Can you explain that to me? Right? Rather than not doing anything about it. So it's either you take the information that you got or the advice, guidance, and you apply it, right? Take action. And then what that leads to is another question, which is I did this, but I'm not sure like how to interpret the information, or I'm not sure this happened, right? So it's this either you're stuck in two areas. You're either stuck on taking action or you're stuck on clarity. Would you agree with that?
I totally agree. Yeah. Yeah, that's where you get stuck because you do take the knowledge and you apply it. And did I do it right? And did I execute it? It's the first time I did it. I'm not sure. And if you don't go back to the source and say, okay, here's what I did. What do I need to do now? Did I do it right? Here's the outcome. Should there be a different outcome, or what am I expecting? That's what this is all about, is giving people a way to figure that out and then come back and say, here's what happened. Okay, well, let's look at it in a different way, or maybe take it down this road and see where you get with it.
Yeah, if you're not passionate, at least for me, I'm talking about for the coaching side of it, right? If I'm not passionate about solving people's problems, which I am, then I would get bored eventually and I'd be like, holy crap, like how many times are you going to ask me the same question? You're just asking
Right.
me in a different way. But no, that's what I want because I'm so passionate about getting the person clear and breakthroughs that you can ask me the same question for 24 years. I don't really care because that's the passions, and this is for everybody. It's not just about me and Scott. It's about you. The question I ask you is when you're looking at what you want to solve for dream clients. The dream client is important, but is the problem important to them, and is it important to you so that you won't get bored trying to help them solve that problem because they are going to have challenges. Jeffrey, Want to read this one, Scott?
Sure. I use the 1 year method. Not ever be afraid to have lunch with every client in a year after they have taken my course. Find out what really transformed in their lives after they finish the course. Love it. Yeah.
Amazing. That's
Yeah.
why, well, invite them on a dream island now, right? Imagine you took everybody that went through your course, Jeffrey, and you all flew to a deserted island. How would that look? And what are those conversations? That's what I love about it. So the two lifestyle outcomes, I just want to repeat them again. Or sorry, the two outcomes. One is the lifestyle outcome of your business, and the other one is the dream client outcome. Let's revert back to the lifestyle outcomes. And if you're just joining us, the lifestyle outcome is about you. It's just so important that you have a vision on where your business, where it needs to be for you. Because if you are having a business that is just getting out of working for somebody else and you're working a lot of hours and it's not going anywhere in terms of like creating a lifestyle for you, go get a job. Just go get a job,
Yeah.
right? Like just go
Joey,
back to getting a job.
commenting on, I'd like comment on Jeffrey's comment. I was helping a buddy moderate a webinar the other night. He had sold a program to his tribe and he was just on talking about it. And there was one fella on, and I just sat and watched. And I watched him ask some questions, and then I watched him buy the thing. And at that moment, I said to my buddy, I want to know what happened right then and there with him. If it were me, I would have jumped on and said, Hey, you just bought this thing. How come? What was the decision you just made? And then what's the transformation that you had? I want to know. And then conversely, why didn't you buy it? I'm just, that to me is not being afraid of. And I learned many years ago from one of my coaches that my evaluations at the end of every seminar, workshop, speech didn't matter. There was an evaluation. And in the beginning, I was afraid to read them because they were being critical of me. Somebody just shifted my thinking to they are helping you build the product called Scott, which is different than the human being Scott. And when I was able to separate that, I, with a tenacity, then looked at them and said, okay, 5, 5, 5, 5, 3, what was going on there? And I'd look at it and say, I need to change something about my product, me. Once I took the ego out of the equation, and that's what I love what Jeffrey says is, yeah, why'd you buy it? What was the transformation? Or why didn't you? And what didn't you get out of it? I had a client once that we ended the relationship, and today I'm like, what about me pissed you off? I want to know, and I'll listen to it and hear it and use it so that I don't do it again in the future. So I think everything we're talking about here leads back to if we truly are passionate about our dream client's outcome, then this thing called online entrepreneurship is going to get a lot easier.
Yeah, and
So
you talked about like the surveys or um, assessing what you're doing and all that. And I did the same thing you're doing or did before was in my masterminds that I had live. And I always asked, first of all, there was anonymous. They didn't have to put their name down. And one question that I still ask today, which is was hard. It's hard because it's like, what can I do to improve?
mm,
And that's hard. And then now, but I never really got any negative stuff. There really wasn't a lot of negative stuff. And then even today, when the Atlas, I finish Atlas, there's a thing that goes out that says, "What, what can you say about my teaching style?" And that's a hard question for me to ask because I know that I got ADD. I rush around things. I do all these other kind of things, and I'm really shocked at the answers that come back. There's because we paint this picture of, oh my god, this is going to be horrendous like when I get these things back, right? But you're right, it helps build me and it validates like what I'm doing and where I'm doing great, and where what I can need, what needs to be improved, these kind of things. And so that is so important to ask. One thing I'm still not comfortable asking, and I don't like it, like asking like why don't people buy? Like I don't ask that question. I do ask the question like when somebody does buy Atlas right away, why did you buy? And that freaks them out, and that always gets a question, like, gets some great answers. But when it comes to like why didn't you buy, I'm not in that camp. I'm not in that camp, and I might send out something or a question that might be to the effect of, was there anything that I missed telling you about Atlas? Like it's still asking why didn't you buy or something like that, but something along those veins. Was there anything that I didn't didn't like tell you, or something that I missed about telling you about Atlas? And then it's surprisingly how they will come back with, everything was great, or this is what I was doing, or maybe they'll have like I wasn't really sure about this, or but a lot of times they'll talk about like here's why I didn't get this yet, or why they didn't buy without me directly asking, so why didn't you buy? No matter how, I don't know how it is for you, Scott, but for me it's really one of those questions that no matter how you ask it, no matter how you lighten it up, it's still about me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like just wondering, just curious. Why did you buy? Just so I can make my product a little bit better later on for other people, or something that I can learn. I get it, and I'm not dissing you or anybody else about using it or anything, but for me, it's more I'm just uncomfortable asking the question.
Mm-hmm.
And I
I
like
hear
to,
you. Yeah, that's thank you for sharing that. And again, I was the other day talking to someone, and I'm like, yeah, this is how I know and I've come to know. But I watched a webinar the other night from a guy that supposedly has made $250 million, and that's his way of doing it. I watch another guy who does it this way and makes this. Another dude who everybody has. If I brought 100 people on this call and interviewed them and said, "What's the best way to make money online?" I'd get 100 different answers.
yeah, 100%.
But what's the what do I keep coming back to? It's uh, build something that gives a dream client the outcome that allows you to live a dream life, and you're passionate about serving people, that you can just make it so amazing. Like Alex Hermosian says, do one thing and make $1 million, then come talk to me about scaling.
Yeah, exactly. And Kay says makes people feel uncomfortable. That's how what I think, that it just puts people on the spot. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and especially I think that from my point of view, from what I do about no pressure whatsoever, that was part of one of the 4 action frameworks, by the way. Like, what did you eliminate? Which was pressure
Yeah.
sales. So I feel it's just counterintuitive, or it's counter. Is that the right word? Counterintuitive, or whatever. But it's like I'm all about no pressure sales, right? And then they don't get pressured into buying, and then all of a sudden they send. So just wondering, why didn't you buy? Why did you buy? Like it's just it doesn't align with what I'm what I'm about. I don't know.
No,
I think
you
this.
do know. It again, Joey, you're right. It is the way you just said it makes sense. It's counterintuitive, counterproductive to how you do everything, the whole approach and that. And it would seem like, wait a second, the whole way through this guy hasn't been a scumbag.
Right.
All of a sudden, he goes and again, it's the way it's asked. No, you don't say, "Hey, why didn't you buy my stuff?" But like you said, just if you want to do it, it's couching it in a way. Is there anything that I didn't answer? Is there just simple things that I didn't explain? Whatever, however you do it. I'm not saying I wouldn't say why didn't you buy my stuff, and it might be like you did. Is there anything that I didn't explain, or whatever, or not? Doesn't matter, because as we say, pillar 3 on their timeline may just not have been the right time for them. That's
Yeah.
all.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. For sure. Um. Well, that went like another direction, but that's kind of cool. Kay says, "I've learned from you, Joey, to say it waits for you. It waits for you when the time is right for you. Is there anything I didn't answer about the program? Right. Right.
Yeah.
Is there anything I didn't answer about the program? Opens up a conversation. And it's still asking, why didn't you buy? In a very subtle way. It's like a hidden message in there. That's the way I like to ask the question.
And Jeffrey's comment before Kay's.
Oh, there. Okay, cool.
But I
Oh,
thought we should always be closing. Yes, Jeffrey.
you're on the wrong.
ABC
You're in the
always
wrong
be
room, Jeffrey. I know. I know you're
in
only
the
kidding,
other
man.
line there, Jeffrey.
I know
In
you're
the
only.
This is the XYZ line, not the ABC line.
We really
We
do
are
need to get like a
exactly you are
sarcastic, button even for the crowd because the crowd knows, man. The crowd, they're even being sarcastic with us.
XYZ instead of ABC. Exactly your Zog. There you go. There's the XYZ.
So there you go. Those are the two defining business outcomes is defining your dream client outcomes. That's what it's about. Make sure you have those defining outcomes. I'll give you the questions again that if you want to write them down to help you understand what those dream client outcomes are. It is, do you solve the right problem? Do you solve a big enough problem that they want to solve? So is it the right one and is it big enough for them? Is it urgent? And the big enough one is like, is it a snake bite or is it a mosquito bite? Can they just deal with it? Or is it big enough and urgent enough for them to run to the hospital because they need to get the poison sucked out? They've just been bitten by a snake. And are they willing to spend money? And I know that we're not about money, but it has to be about that because you can't build a healthy business and serve the world and serve more people without having money for your cause, for your mission. So it has to be big enough, urgent enough, and something that they will spend money on. And as well, do they already feel that there is a problem, or I should say, a solution that that is out there to solve their problem? And if there is, are they using it or are they, and if they're not, why aren't they using it? And that goes into a whole other discussion about positioning and how to position yourself in front of those people differently. And is the problem important to you? I think that should probably be number one. It's like, is it important to you first to solve the problem so that you will go through all of these other exercises to figure out what the right problem is? I think that should be number one. What do you think, Scott?
Well, I'm going to go further with it and say, are you passionate enough
Yeah,
about solving the problem? Is it important? So, yeah, important and passionate. Is it important enough to you? Are you passionate enough about the problem to go and solve it? And then, okay, are you solving the right problem? Is it big enough? Is it urgent enough? And yeah, they have to have money to solve the problem. Somebody said the other day, you have to pay to play in order to get the transformation. It's give it away for free, then that's what the value is going to be on it. So I like
right.
it.
And then the lifestyle, just to close it up, is the lifestyle is that where most entrepreneurs are just maintaining life. They've got this business and it's great. They're making a little bit of money, but it's not really a lifestyle. And they're not planning for lifestyle. They're just planning for the next day. They're just planning for the next month. Let me just get out of this. And I was in that for so long, like so much of my entire entrepreneurship. It was just about, let me just get out of this next year. Let me get out of this next week or whatever. I just need to figure this out. This bill has to be taken care of. And it was very stressful. And it's not that I'm out of the complete hole, by the way, guys. I'm not preaching from the ivory tower here. It's still, things are happening, but I've got more of a vision. And the stuff that we're talking about here is the stuff that we're actually doing. I'm not just preaching it and not living it. And then, it is more about, to do that, to create the lifestyle that you want, is to have a vision that you want. And what I mean by this is that making the vision or creating the vision based on not only what you want, but removing what you already know today. Because if you have a limiting whatever limits you have about a vision in the future, if something gets in the way, it's because you're allowing what you know today to get in the way of that vision. So you have to remove that. There's no way I'm ever going to make 100,000 because I've never made more than 24,000 a year, right? Whatever it is, there's no way anybody's going to buy this because I've only sold something for 297. Like whatever. So that's the wrap up of today. Thank you for being here. By the way, hashtag live, hashtag replay if you're on the replay. Scott, any final parting words for tonight?
I just love again how you skinny things down into simplistic terms. And just to look at these two outcomes, dream client outcome and lifestyle outcome, and put them into, if you're irrationally passionate about what we're doing, then we have the outcome in mind for the dream client. It can't not work for us to then provide the lifestyle and go out and just build this stuff you're talking about all the time.
Yeah. Thank you, man. And thank you, everyone, for the great comments. We love you back. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of the show for the last 3 years, at least 3 years. And we're just continue to go. So have yourself an amazing, amazing Tuesday night. We will see you next Tuesday for another show. And who knows what that'll be about, but we hope to see you. So see you then. Bye now.